So, how do you solve a case when your single most critical clue, the victim's final hours, is just gone? A complete mystery. Today, we're going to break down how investigators tackled that exact problem and how they had to expand their search from a single city apartment to an entire rural county. And it all started with one massive hurdle. That's the phrase at the heart of the whole challenge: a broken timeline. That's a term that probably sends a chill down any investigator's spine because it means the trail has gone cold almost before it's even begun. When a timeline breaks, investigators lose the where and the when. All the usual starting points, they just vanish. You can't canvass a neighborhood if you don't know which neighborhood to even search. You can't look for witnesses if you have no idea what time the event even happened. It is a massive, massive roadblock. For the investigators looking into Taylor's disappearance, that place was her home, her apartment in Richmond. But what they found, or actually what they didn't find, created a problem right away. You might think a clean scene is a good thing, but it can actually be worse for an investigation than a chaotic one. It tells investigators one thing loud and clear: whatever happened, it almost certainly didn't happen here. And that forced them to ask a really difficult question. With zero evidence at the apartment, the potential search area is, well, it's anywhere else. The scope of the investigation has just completely exploded, and that requires a total shift in strategy. So, with no localized crime scene and a timeline that's shattered, a narrow search was just not an option anymore. Investigators had to literally zoom out, moving from a micro view of one apartment to a macro view of the entire region. It went from a dense, urban environment like Richmond, with tons of people and potential witnesses everywhere, to a place like Matthews County, which is rural, it's wooded, and it has just a fraction of the population. In this case, that breakthrough came when the investigation shifted from looking for a place to looking at a person. Identifying a person of interest was the absolute game changer. Suddenly, the search was no longer random. It became strategic. Now, they were looking for the specific haystack that the person carrying the needle would be most likely to choose. See, a suspect completely reshapes the search map. Investigators could now target areas connected to this specific individual. That new focus led them directly to one specific location. So, with this new, sharp focus, search teams zeroed in on Matthews County, Virginia. There was a very specific, cold logic behind this choice. All the rural, out-of-the-way places they could have searched, what made Matthews County the one? Well, the answer comes when you start looking at the landscape from the perspective of someone who's trying to make something disappear. Matthews County basically offered a perfect toolkit for concealment. It's way quieter, with far fewer people around to see something. The dense woods mean visibility is incredibly low,